I go to about 4 or 5 conferences a year. This year I'll probably go to 6. Everybody approaches them a little bit differently. I've talked to a couple of industry peers who have very different approaches from me, but it works for them. But the key thing is just maybe for each of us is to sit down and prepare in advance. And some tips that are helpful for me, I make sure, typically I'm speaking or on a panel, so I want to make sure to introduce myself to all the panelists and make sure that I create a dialogue, not just beyond our chat, but that we actually engage and certainly get to know our businesses a little bit. And then I'll actually use those relationships to then talk more about who are they meeting with when they're there. And that's a nice way for me. I'll always grab a few additional meetings because they may say, hey, you should talk to this person that we're meeting with, or you should talk to a colleague of mine. And that's one great way to generate meetings. The other great way to generate meetings is if you can get an attendee list in advance for who's registered for your speaking session or your workshop. We're doing a workshop here in April. And so we'll get in advance, we'll have an idea for who's going to be there. And reaching out to those folks. And that can be as light a touch as engaging with some of their content on LinkedIn, or reaching out to them over LinkedIn, or sending an email or making a phone call. But really preparing and getting the soil prepared so that when you hit that conference, there's a familiarity. And as you walk around the conference, what I really want to be able to do is I just want to be able to make connections and talk to as many people as possible. I don't need to have in-depth conversations. Conferences are not typically a place for me to go really deep. I don't typically sequester myself into a room. I can do those calls over Zoom, or I can do them in their office and fly to them. I like to use that time to really try to go very wide and to just meet as many people as possible. And typically then what you're going to find is after you've done that is you'll find from that, who are the people that are interested in following up with you? Who are you most interested in following up with? So if that's your approach, which is mine, the 2 things I would recommend is making sure that the people that you're going to have conversations with, for sure, in my case, fellow panelists or people I'm already meeting with, that I try to spread from there and see who else they're meeting with. And then secondly, try to get as much information as you can on maybe who's attending some of your sessions or who's going to be in some of the attendees, and make sure that you target the folks that you really think you can have a valuable conversation with and reach out to them in advance.